Shalakia. We are to live a certain way. Okay? We have to have respect for authority. You know, first and foremost, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because he set up rulers over us. Shalakia, he set up authority over us, right? To correct us, right? So you have to live a certain way, you know, and this book teaches you that way. The Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. All right, so let's go and we're going to get some scriptures out here that is going to show you how you're supposed to conduct your life under these authority that the Most High set up. Okay, because this is not of themselves, this is of the Most High. Okay, so let's go. First book we're going to go to, this part of the lesson is, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter, get Matthew chapter 5, verse 25. So this is how you ought to live and conduct yourself in society, because this is not our kingdom. Even the Lord said it. This is not our kingdom. If this is our kingdom, we would have fight. Okay? So this is not our kingdom. So you have to govern yourself and conduct yourself and rule your spirit. Okay? Proverbs 25 and 28. You got to rule your spirit. All right? This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 25. This is how you should conduct yourself. Okay? It says, agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Okay? So you have to agree with your adversary. You see what happened to the brother the other day? Who was that? I believe his name is Jacob Blake. The guy who got shot in the back. I'm not sure. I think it's Jacob Blake. If I'm not, you can correct me on the comment board if it's not the correct name. But it says, agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Okay, so if you don't use wisdom and discernment, things could go haywire. That's what happened to the brother the other day. You know, things written aforetime was written for our learning. We gotta learn and learn from things. Okay, verse 26, it says, verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. So you mess around, you get locked up because you playing tough and screw. Police pull you over, ask you for your driver's license, and before you give him your driver's license or your registration, insurance, or whatever, you giving big attitude and moving and fidgeting around. In this day and this time, you don't want to fidget around. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Do something that's gonna show the officer that you have wisdom. You're being wise. You're not acting all, you know. So you gotta use wisdom. You attain wisdom to apply wisdom. You know. So that's what it is, man. In this time, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Okay, Isaiah 33 and 6. You got to use wisdom, man. And that's the time that we're coming into. Okay, let's get the next one. Let's go to the book of, we're going to go to the book of Romans. Let's go to the book of Romans, the 13th chapter. We're going to read that. All right, this is the book of Romans, chapter 13 and verse 1. It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. For there is no power but the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. Okay? The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. The Most High set them up in power. Okay? For our correction. Verse 2, it says, whosoever therefore resisted the ordinances of the Most High. Resist the ordinance of the Most High. That's what you're doing if you resist the power. Because the Most High set them up. There is no power but the Most High. Alright? Right? And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Okay? Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. So if you're doing evil, you know, wilt thou then not be afraid of the powers? Do that which is good. So it's saying, this is a question. Will thou then not be afraid of the power? So if you know the Most High set them up and put them in power, you're not going to be afraid? Because that's like you saying you're not afraid of the Most High. And we ought to fear the Most High. Okay? Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13 says, let us hear the whole conclusion of the matter. Fear the Lord and keep his commandments, which is the whole duty of mankind. Okay? The whole duty of the whole purpose of your life is to fear the Lord and keep his commandments. All right? So it says, will thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So do good works, do good things, be good in society, be upright, okay, be righteous. Verse 4, it says, for he is the minister of the Most High to thee. This is for your correction. For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. Okay? For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Wherefore he must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. Okay? For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this thing. So we ought to obey, the scripture says we ought to obey the Most High rather than men, right? We ought to obey the Most High rather than men. But the Most High set up these nations in power, okay? And you have to obey them unless they're going against the Most High's word, you know? If they're going against the Most High word, then you don't have to obey that. You know, we ought to obey the Most High rather than men. Okay? So I want to get something out of the book of Baruch, because it says, the 6th verse here, in Romans chapter 13, verse 6, it says, for this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers and attending continually upon this very thing. So it says, for this cause pay ye tribute. So we also have to pay tribute also, right? Well, we also have to pay tribute. So let me go back to the book of Baruch. I'm going to pull Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. This is the book of Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8, right? Where it says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. So yet this day we're still in captivity. A lot of people don't feel like that. They act like as if they don't know it, but it's a fact. I'm reading it. Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, look, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. This is why we got to pay all these things. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, it tells you that we're going to have to go to our enemy for the want of all things. Okay? Just now, in Romans chapter 13 and verse 6, it says, for this cause pay ye tribute also. So we paying tribute. Okay? Read this again. Baruch chapter 3 and 8, it says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments. So we subject to payments. That's why we got to make all these payments. We're not in our kingdom. Okay? You got to work. You got to pay bills. All right? Right? So we subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. So you see? For our correction, all of this stuff we're going through. We're going through all of this. We're subject to payments. We got to go to our enemy for the want of all things. Huh? That's what it is. That's what it is, brothers and sisters. Get something. Continue on showing you. Things written aforetime was written for our learning, man. Alright? Things written aforetime was written for our learning. Go to the book of 1 Peter's. Let me get that. The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2. This is 1 Peter chapter 2. It says, and verse 13, I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him, for the punishment of evildoers. So, you see, it's for your correction. All right? Verse 14 again. Or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him, for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. So this is, if you're doing well, you'll be fine, you're good. If you're doing evil, that's why they set up over you. Okay, verse 15. For so is the will of the Most High. This is the will of the Most High. For so is the will of the Most High, that with well-doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. Okay? Verse 16. As free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of the Most High. Honor all men. Love the brotherhood, right? Love the brotherhood. Fear the Most High. Honor the king. Okay? So as you could clearly see, man, the Most High set this up. As a matter of fact, you go to the book of, you got to find that in the book of Daniel. Let's get this. Daniel 4 and 17. There we go. Daniel 4 and 17, it says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. The Most High rule in the kingdom of men. Okay? And giveth it to whomsoever he will. Alright? And set it up over it the basis of men. So the Most High put the basis of men over us. Why? Because we broke the covenant. We broke his law, statutes, and commandments. You see? So the Most High put the basis of men over us. Let me get the next one real quick, right? Let's get the next one real quick. Let's go to the book of Psalms. And we're gonna read a couple more scriptures and we're gonna wrap it up. You know? But let's try to get home. Trying to get home these points here. Psalms chapter 75 and verse 5. Beginning at verse 5, it says, Lift not up your horn on high. Speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But the Most High is the judge. Okay? He put it down one and set it up another. The Most High set up these things, man, the way he wanted to be set up. Okay? It's the Most High. The Most High does these things. Alright? That's what it is, man. So, the Most High put certain nations over us because we didn't adhere to that covenant. Okay? But we being corrected, and it's going to get back to how it was meant to be, that we are going to get those blessings. Okay? We are going to get those blessings, but we got to go through it. We got to go through what the Lord is putting us through. We got to go through until we get into the kingdom. You know, Lord willing, we be those men. I don't want to wrap this up. I'm going to have that precious number. But let me get Psalms chapter 17 and verse 13 to show you that the Most High set up these nations over us. The Most High used Esau as a whipping stick. Right? So, Psalms chapter 17 and beginning at verse 13, it says, Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Okay? That's the Most High sword. Alright? It's verse 14, it says, From men which are thy hand, O Lord. It says, from men which are thy hand, O Lord. From men of the world which have their portion in this life, and whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are filled of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. Okay? So hey, it is what it is, man. The Most High control the right and the left hand side. Alright? The deceiver and the deceived are his. Okay? Job 12 and 16. Alright? So, hey, that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Showing you that the Most High set up nations over you to correct you. You know, when we did wrong, when we went off. Okay, let's get another one. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 10. Let's get Isaiah chapter 10. I think it's around about the 5th verse. This is Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 15. And it says, Salakia, verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Okay? It says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Okay? Are you hearing this? Remember our people were led captive, okay, into Assyria? So let's read it again. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 5. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand, right? The staff and the staff in their hand is mine anger. Verse 6. I will send them against an hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath, and I will give him a charge to take the spoil and to take the prey, and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. You see? Things written aforetime was written for our learning, man. Precept upon precept, right out of the scripture. This book is the living water, man. Okay? St. John chapter 7 and verse 38 says, He that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. This is the living water, man. This book right here. It teaches you and tells you. Shows you how to live. This shows you how to live. As a matter of fact, let me get a quick precept. The book of Baruch, chapter 4. It says, This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Okay? This book is the book, man. This is the book. The Holy Scriptures, this is the book. Things written aforetime was written for our learning, brothers and sisters. Okay? Let's get the book of Habakkuk. Let's go into the book of Habakkuk real quick. Looking for first chapter, around about the 12th verse. Not a precept showing you that, right, the Most High set up this nation over us to correct us because we went off. All right? Things written aforetime was written for our learning. Slack you. Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 12, it says, Art thou not from everlasting, O Lord, my power, mine holy one? We shall not die, O Yahweh. Thou hast ordained them for judgment. Who's the them? The people he put in authority over us. Okay? Thou hast ordained them for judgment and almighty power. Thou hast established them for correction. Let me read this again. Habakkuk, the book of Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 12. Art thou not from everlasting, O Yahweh, my power, my holy one? We shall not die, O Yahweh. Thou hast ordained them for judgment. O mighty power, thou hast established them for correction. Okay? So the Most High established them for correction. Alright? That's just what it is. So we got to use discernment, man. We got to use discernment. I'm going to try to get a few quick more scriptures in there. And then we're going to close out. showing you that the Most High, he corrects us. He's correcting us. You know, those that want to be corrected. This is the book of Hebrews chapter 12. I'm going to begin at verse 5. It says, "And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise thou not." Salakia, "despise not thou the chastising of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him." Okay? Verse 6, "For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening,